Right, Chris, we're here today and that. We're going to have a chat about day ticket waters and our approach to it. What is the first thing that we generally do when we first get to a water?
Well, put up in the car park and that, and first thing we do is like walk round and see if we see any signs of fish, see if anyone's been catching.
I mean, we always have a real good look around sort of thing, don't we? At least two laps of any venue.
Yeah. Look
for wet unhooking mats. I mean, people have had fish, wet nets and stuff like that.
And well, it depends on the size of the venue. You could have quite a few walks around before you see something a bit carpy that you might want to go on.
Well, yeah,
whereas a smaller lake like here at Little Horseshoe, it's a small lake that you can usually find a fish straight away.
Yeah, I mean there's loads of good margin spots and stuff like that that we can sort of usually find one or two going about. But what is our general approach is we always have observation is absolutely the top of the list, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You have to keep looking. Watching for fish showing, like I say, if anyone else is on the venue.
Yeah, especially at first light. That's when they'll be showing more when everyone's asleep and that.
Yeah, and it's one thing I always, well, you know me, I'm up before it gets light every single morning, and I'll be walking up looking from different, you know, if a swim next door is available, I'll have a look from there, see if I can see other bits of water. It is the ultimate thing that you have to do. And what's your first thing, once you've decided on a swim, what would make you actually decide that swim?
There's a few things really. There's got to be fish in there to start with. And then
obviously, that's why you've done the look around and what.
Yeah, there's fish in there, or mateys might have caught some fish. So you get in there and probably flick a few bags out. Just
see, that's your approach to it. You always go in with a bag approach, because that's just the way you do, and then you'll keep watching the water for another couple of hours after, won't you?
Yeah, that's it.
Before you start applying any extra baits.
Yeah, I don't usually put any spot out or nothing like that to start with. I usually flick a few bags out different areas, spread the rods out, and maybe if you get a bite on one of the rods, like concentrate on that area, put a couple of rods on it, and if you think it might do a few more bites, maybe put a bit more bait on it.
Quite often I've watched it before, and you'll slowly move another rod towards it, not bang on top of it, but towards it.
That's it, yeah.
See if you can pick up them bonus fish moving through, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. Whereas, sort of stuff do you do then?
Well, for me, I tend to sort of decide on an area, and I will start spotting sometimes straight away, depending on what the water's like. I mean, I research a venue so much beforehand, you know. I make phone calls, I check out internet forums and stuff like that. And it's usually a good information that you can gather for nothing.
Yeah.
And then chatting to the locals, any of the lads that are on there, find out if they generally fish it.
Everyone usually talks about the venue. They're not secretive, no, really, are they? Like?
Or if they are, and you know they've got wet nets, they know something that you don't know. So it's another reason why I might jump into a swim if I know someone's going.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But on day ticket waters, it's like that, isn't it? I mean, there's some lakes, like every swim gets taken.
Well, yeah. We've had that, literally last week, didn't we? We was up at Hunt's Corner in Oxfordshire.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And it was every single swim. We were waiting for swims, weren't we, basically? We were waiting hours before we could get in there. And,
we slept overnight just waiting for a swim to get free, and then Sunday morning, everyone started packing up. And that's when we sort of got in there and we had a choice of swims, didn't we? Suddenly there was no swims to about sort of 6 swims for free. Like.
It was your flick of the coin this month and you'd won it, so...
Yeah, I decided to go in an area where mate has caught quite a few fish. He'd been there for about 5 days or something, hadn't he?
He fished it really well, I'll give him his due. He caught a lot of fish.
Yeah. So obviously it was the ideal area to start. Put a little bit of bait up the margin and that, put a few rods in and waited. And it wasn't actually them rods that went, it was an area away from where mate had been catching, like a bit of fizzing coming out. I thought, I'll put a rod on that. And I had 2 fish on that. But as the afternoon got on, there was less and less signs. I went for a walk, couldn't see no fish. And the wind had spun round and I thought they're moving. So I had to go up the other end and have a look.
And I jumped in yours straight after because I thought if it changes back again, it could kick off for me again, and it's that's an extreme day ticket water, which is because it is so prolific and so good.
Yeah.
It is. You literally wait for swims. I mean, in the time that we was there, we see 8 or 9 people turn up and couldn't get a swim, and had to go into other waters. But so, what is your favourite approach, like bait wise, with day ticket waters?
I'd say I never go to a venue without some pellets and plastics, plastic toppers for your hook baits, pellets and boilies. I like crushing up boilies and things like that, making a bit of spod mix out of that. And yeah, they seem to love the pellet, especially in the edge and that. And also, if you're baiting up the edge, crumbling up some boilies and a bit of pellet, like it's better than putting old ones down there because the birds come and see it. They have them within like minutes, whereas like the pellets and that, you can always check on them.
And I'm slightly different to you. I tend to go in with particle quite a bit, don't I?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Everyone sort of
particles for me. Everyone puts them in a spod mix, yet very few of them actually use it. I mean, corn is probably one of my favourite baits. Corn, maize, stuff like that, little nuts, tiger nuts, that, you know, if the venue lets you use them. I like that approach. I've never been a massive boilie user, although I am going more into it now, but now I am using boilies. When I am using that, 10 millers.
Yeah, little boilies. That's another common mistake I see people making. They spot out all this corn, little bits and pieces and fish like a 18 mil boilie over the top. And the carp come in, they mop up the lot and they know exactly what the hook bait is.
Yeah, it happens time and time again. We've seen it, you know, or people fish massive, great big snowman rigs over small beds of particle and stuff like that. It's too blatant, I think so, anyhow. Yeah,
it is. Like, my biggest bait I've used probably on one of these features is like a 14 mil boilie. That was after like the bream and that had moved in just to try and keep them off. And like over a scattering of boilies, it's always like something small, like a 14. But most of my baits seem to be like 2 10 mils on the air, or a single bit of plastic or something like that, something to mimic what everyone else is putting out there, what they're used to eating but not getting caught on, really.
I mean, we had the opportunity of fishing the new lake at Todba a week before it opened, and I actually went in completely the opposite of what I normally do. And I actually went in with the snowman rigs, thinking that I would avoid the smaller fish, and it did actually work for me. It was one of the ones that it was... I took the chance of it. You was catching fish quite regular, but they would tend to be the sort of, well, doubles to mid-teens sort of thing.
Yeah, they were. I was like just fishing bags and that, really. I can't get my head around putting a lot of bait in when you're fishing 48 hours. Like, I do it little and often, whereas on them venues, you put a lot of bait in and you do really well, didn't you?
Yeah, I tend to, because I know that they get constant big amounts of bait, and you can get big hits of fish in that, and it just seems...
They keep visiting it, don't they? Like, there's so many fish in there, they keep visiting it, and they constantly come back to it, I think. Whereas me, I don't like the thought of there being like another 1,000 freebies out there, and my hook bait getting picked up amongst them. I can't really...
I must have got through a good 6 to 8 kilos of boilies that time, and it's like I say, I'm not normally a boilie angler, and I just thought I'll give it a shot and whatever, and it paid off for me, because I did have 3 26s and a 24, didn't I, in the 48 session.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
It's knowing when to take that chance, sort of thing. Sometimes you take a chance and it doesn't come off.
Yeah.
But when it does come off, you can have seriously big hits, and you proved in that last one, like I say, the wind changed.
Well, the wind changed. The air that I went into, it hadn't done a fish for about a week or something like that. There'd been the odd fish out, like further around, but that particular swim had been like nothing out of. But I knew that when that wind changed, they were going to, and they avoided that swim up the other end. That's it, that they were on their way down. I didn't know when they turned up.
You picked up the occasional one to start with, didn't you?
Yeah.
And because I moved into your swim, and I'd caught a few.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, did he make the right move in that? Because it was sort of neck and neck between us.
Yeah, you started catching, I never caught where I just moved in. But the thing is, I'd found some spots out there, and I'd already baited it, and the fish still weren't there. They were on their way down. So by the time they got to me, my rigs and spots and bait were all prime, and from the first bite, it just was constant after that. You
stopped them and you held them there because it was already there, so you didn't have to put bait on top of fish.
No.
They actually came, and then all you done was just topped up with little bags.
I topped up, when I got fish in the area, I just top up with just boilies, sprinkle a few boilies over the top, small boilies and things. Maybe put a little spod on if I think I can get away with it, just so you don't spook them completely out of the air, but keep them competing for the food. And that's the way to hold them. Just keep bait going out little and often once they're there, and you can have multiple catches.
Yeah, it's choosing a venue. That's where I think the information that we gain beforehand, because sometimes we go to venues where we've never even seen before or anything like that. It's getting as much information as you can about the venue, because there's no point going there with like £12 line that if the place is full of snags.
No, that's it, yeah.
You've got to up your line things and whatever.
Yeah, like up at
lids and stuff like that you've got to go into.
Up at Jerry Hammond's Brook Lake, that's a prime example for that. It's like loads of snags and pads. It's a pretty lake.
Minimum £15 line.
Yeah,
any swim there.
And decent length for leg core, drop off leads, things like that. I mean, with that information, you know, to pack a few more leads.
Yeah.
And just make sure you've got some long leaders tied up, spooled up with like £15 line.
It's got to be minimum £15.
That's it.
But it's that's what I say. You find out the information about the venues and whatever, and we use as much of that as we can, and hopefully there'll be locals on there which will tell us as much as what we can get.
Yeah, yeah.